Most agents don't fail because of the market, and they don't fail because they don't know how to fill out a contract. They fail because they don't build the right habits. And I know because I was there myself. Overwhelmed, stuck, watching my business stall. But once I shifted just 3 daily habits, everything started to change. My business started to grow, pipeline was filling, and I finally was in complete control, which is why I'm gonna break down for you these 3 daily habits so you could start plugging them into your business today. What's up, guys? Anthony Esposito with eXp Realty. And if this is something that you're struggling with on a daily basis and you're just sick and tired of everything and you want my direct help and support for free, then go in the description below, click on my calendar link, and book a call with me so we could start talking about taking your business to that next level. So the first habit, it's super simple, but it is where most agents fail every single time. It is all about your mindset. And I used to wake up, roll out of bed, take my sweet time, start scrolling on my phone, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, just kind of waking up and getting into my day. And then I was just kind of winging it as well. I didn't have a sense of direction with anything of what I was going to do. It was kind of like, what the hell am I going to work on today? And I would just do it in the moment. Before I knew it, the day took control of me instead of me taking control of my day. So I wasn't really focused. I was not building a positive mindset. It was, I'll get it. No worries. And I'm sure a bunch of you have been there as well. If not, you're already there, still doing it to this day. And what I found out is that was causing my business to fail right out of the rip, because anything that was negative, anything that just went wrong, it would kill my whole day. So what I started to do, instead of waking up and just going, we'll figure it out, and just looking down at my phone, scrolling through, not really paying much attention and truly running a business, I flipped script. So now every night, I write down exactly what I need to do the next day. And don't get me wrong, there's times to where I don't get to it. But then first thing in the morning, before I do anything, I am listing out my task, what I need to accomplish, my goals for the day. But I also have my calendar set up to where it's even in there for, my lunch break of when I'm supposed to take lunch. And there's stuff that I have coded for non-negotiables. So no matter what, that is happening. So for my YouTube filming or anything like that, I have that in a red color because it's, it stands out, it's bright, it's red, it's one of those eye-catching colors, but it's non-negotiable. Other stuff will go in there as well, like showings, things of that sort. But I have everything more organized. But I also started telling myself at least 3 affirmations every single morning. And it wasn't, I want. It's always I will or I am. And those positive affirmations, it sets your whole day. Having your planner, like your goals laid out for what you want to do, it sets the whole day, and just start crossing stuff off. You cross it off, that's technically, another positive affirmation for you. It's a positivity thing. It makes your brain and your dopamine levels just kind of like trigger, because you're like, yes, I ended up completing that. Great job. And the negative stuff, like when I'm cold calling or if something goes south, I end up saying to myself, it's all right. We're going to be okay. And it doesn't affect me. So mindset is everything in this, but it's also the biggest soul crusher, business crusher that any agent will face. If you don't have a strong mindset, or you have a weak mindset and it's not set up ready to go, and your calendar's not laid out, you don't have things planned, you're gonna end up failing like I was. Now, the second habit that you need to end up doing, it's continuous prospecting. So many agents, even when they're 20 years in the business, they keep chasing the next deal because they didn't prospect properly. They stopped too soon, so it didn't have time to accumulate and build. Now, when I say continuous prospecting, I'm not talking, just sitting there hammering out the phones every single day for the rest of your life. That's one method. I'm also talking about getting on social media and not only posting the right content on social media, but interacting with your followers, communicating with each other, wishing them happy birthday. Follow up with your leads, your clients, your past clients. That is all a form of prospecting. You're basically keeping yourself, top of mind for every single person that ends up seeing your face. It's one of those things where it's like, before I used to be like, I'm just really not feeling like it. I'm not in the mood. As a business owner, it doesn't matter if you're not in the mood. You better get your ass in the mood and overcome that, because you are going to fail. And even when you're done officially saying, like, going through, and we'll just say cold calling, and you've done it for years and you piled on a ton of clientele from it, you're still technically prospecting, because you got to stay in touch with your past clients. They're going to give you possibly 7 deals throughout your career with referrals, repeat, all that fun stuff. So you still have to technically prospect. It's not the same. It's not like you're cold calling. It's not like you're, building your pipeline. It's built. But you still need to always, always, always prospect one way or another. Even if it's a quick phone call just saying, how you doing? You don't do none of that, hey, have you ever thought about selling your house? I know we haven't talked in a while. No. Ask them how they're doing. Be their friend. Build a relationship. It's not that difficult. Don't overcomplicate this. Now, the third habit, which this one, quite honestly, I always feel that this is by far the most important. You got to keep learning. The world changes very quickly. Our business changes very quickly, especially with AI, of how it's just taking over and kind of controlling what we do with our business, how we do it, the things we need to go about it. But there's, market shifts. Those change quicker than we think. Yes, it's drawn out. It doesn't just happen overnight, but it's one of those things to where it's like, oh shit, how did that just happen? It was just a seller's market. Now it's a buyer's market. And it catches up to us fast. There's interest rates. Those things fluctuate every single day. And yes, it's a gradual process, but again, it's something that comes pretty quick. And before we know it, if we're not paying attention and learning the market shifts, learning the interest rates of what they're doing, it starts going the opposite direction. And then you're not looked at as the authority. But if you stay on top of this type of stuff, you could be putting things out there all the time. Tons of content, easy to be putting out there to make yourself that authority figure. But, even keeping up with buyer psychology, because that is changing all the time. And what I mean by that is, the past several years, the majority of buyers, their big concern has been the interest rates. It's too high. It's unaffordable. Well, that is an area that is going to change eventually, because at some point, interest rates are going to come down. Then it's going to turn into the next problem and understanding, how can I properly educate and help my buyers? So if you're not learning on a day-to-day basis, and I'm not talking just random stuff, I'm meaning like actually going out and learning something about our business, about the industry, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're doing your clientele a disservice. And you're not going to end up being that standout agent that everyone wants to end up working with. But, once I established that routine of even learning on a day-to-day basis from my coaches, from my peers, from, people that I've never even met, but I'm researching stuff on YouTube instead of scrolling through, Instagram or TikTok all day long and just, getting a small little dopamine rush from a laugh. I'm actually going on YouTube and I am researching stuff about the business. I am researching how to perfect my craft, what I am doing. Yes, I make cold calls. I do it all the time, but I'm still teaching myself how to better myself. I still follow some of the best at it, like Ricky Carruth. I'm still paying attention to his stuff and picking up on little things every single time that I watch one of his videos that he drops, or I go into one of his seminars. Every single week for my mastermind coaching calls with the Wolfpack, I am, even if it's stuff I already know, I'm still paying attention and taking away something to end up growing. Now, once you have all of these 3 habits in place and you do them on a consistent basis every single day, and you really focus on building your business, I promise you, there won't be any more overwhelming feelings. There won't be any more doubts. There won't be any more frustrations. Your business will grow. And instead of being that roller coaster style ride that so many of you are always on in this business, it's going to be straight uphill, nonstop. It is not going to come down. Now, if you are struggling with all of this stuff and you've been debating to yourself, maybe I do need a little extra help. Maybe I need more systems in place. Being part of the Wolfpack, we have thousands of agents that are currently in there. We just broke 3,700 agents. We're the fastest growing group at EXP globally. We have agents that are crushing over 80 deals in their first year. Tons of them that are capping, hitting icon status, just making millions, like selling millions of dollars worth of real estate. If this is something that interests you and you want to see what it's like to be part of the Wolfpack with some of the leading AI industry that's out there, because we have an AI Agent Accelerator. There's the Social Agent Academy that gives you anything and everything from branding to getting your socials online to even starting your own YouTube channel, plus getting coached by some of the top leaders in the industry. And one of the co-founders who is the #1 attractor at EXP, Mike Sherrard. He's also my sponsor. If you haven't heard of him, you've probably been in a hole, but he's out there. If you want training from all that and to see what it would look like to join me over at EXP and the Wolfpack, go in the description below, click on that calendar link and book a call with me, because I promise you, we will take your business to that next level, and it's going to be a constant uphill ride instead of that typical roller coaster up and down and just being overwhelmed.